This video covers filling out the Table Delimited class for a PDS4 label. In this video, we will cover when to include a delimited table in your archive and how to fill out the Table Delimited class. We will be using the Oxygen XML editor to view the label file and PDS4 viewer to view the table contents. These example tables can also be viewed in Excel, Notepad, or whichever software you use to view table data. Feel free to pause or go back in the video at any time. Delimited tables store data where all the records, or rows, in the table have the same fields, or columns, and the fields may be of different data types. In contrast to fixed-width tables, delimited tables have records of variable lengths. This structure allows more efficient storage when field values are expressed with varying precisions and especially if many fields are empty. Delimited tables are also readily ingested into many commercially available spreadsheet programs. Our example is a label that describes a PDS product containing 4 delimited tables. The attributes in the Table Delimited class describe the format and information needed to read the table. If you have multiple tables in your data file to describe, include a Table Delimited class for each table. You can have as many entries as needed. There are 5 required attributes: offset, parsing standard ID, records, record delimiter, and field delimiter. The offset is the offset in bytes from the start of the file to the start of the table. The parsing standard ID is required to have the value PDS-DSV1. Records contains the total number of records in the table. The record delimiter attribute must have the value carriage return line feed or line feed. Your tables must have carriage return and/or line feed delimited records. Field delimiter must have one of the following values: comma, horizontal tab, semicolon, or vertical bar. There are also several optional attributes. Use the name attribute to provide a human-readable name for your table. If a file needs to be referenced elsewhere in a label, you must include the local identifier attribute. Choose a short descriptive name. Note that this local identifier singles out the file itself, not any data structures that might be contained within the file. Include the description attribute to add any additional comments needed about your table. The Record Delimited class is required and describes the fields contained in one complete record in the table. There are 2 required attributes, fields, and groups. A group is a set of one or more fields that is repeated in the table. For example, consider a record containing a spectrum of 250 measurements, each in its own field. It is more convenient to describe it as a group rather than as 250 identical individual fields. A group may be nested inside another group. The fields attribute is the number of fields in the record that are not part of a group. The groups attribute is the number of groups in the record not counting nested groups. Include the optional maximum record length attribute to record the length of the longest single record in the data table. Within each record delimited class, you must include at least one of either of the following classes: field delimited or group field delimited. The field delimited class describes one field in your table. There must be an instance of this class for each field in your table matching the number entered into the fields attribute above. There are only 2 required attributes for this class and a number of optional attributes. The name of the field is recorded in the required name attribute. It is recommended that the name be human readable but also easily used in applications as a meaningful column header. Data type is required and must be one of the values listed in the Standard Values Quick Reference on the PDS website. Our example label includes the optional description attribute. Use free-form text to describe the content of the field here. Other optional attributes include field number, maximum field length, unit, scaling factor, and value offset. There are 2 optional classes that can be also included under Field Delimited. The Special Constants class defines values used to indicate data that are unknown, missing, invalid, or that meet other special criteria. See the document Filling Out the Table Delimited Data Structure for the list of the special constants available in this class. Field statistics can be used to include extrema, mean value, and other statistics related to the values that occur in this field. The Group Field Delimited class allows you to describe a group of one or more repeating fields. Another way to think of a group is as a nested table, or a table within a table. It is even possible to have groups within groups. Each group, or nested table, contains its own field delimited and/or group field delimited classes. There are several required attributes: repetitions, fields, and groups. Use the repetitions attribute to record the number of times the complete set of field delimited and/or group field delimited classes within this group field delimited class repeats. The fields attribute is the number of the field delimited classes nested in the containing group field delimited class. If there are no field delimited classes nested, then this value is 0. The groups attribute, similarly, is the number of group field delimited classes nested in the containing group field delimited class. If there are no group field delimited classes nested, then this value is 0. There are also a number of optional attributes that can be included for clarity. Use the name attribute to provide a meaningful group name that will help future users understand the data better. You can number the groups and record each number in the group number attribute. The description attribute can be used to add any further information needed. As you can see in our example, all nested and not nested field delimited and group field delimited classes have the same required attributes. This video covered filling out the Table Delimited class for a PDS4 label. In this video we described when to include a delimited table in your archive and how to fill out the Table Delimited class.